Are you going to record all this?
You missed the recording part when I set the camera up.
I know. I think that's when you're going to start recording.
Hey Patrick, hey Hong, forgot the other name. I know Andrea, but forgot the other name, so apologize. Patrick and Hong, I remember. This is Jim, this is Jeff.
Hey.
I'm Steve Watson. So I thought we'd just kind of explore what you were talking about on the video. And your setup was push hands with matched feet, although I think Hong had a little bit more of a horse stance. He didn't have a very long front stance, so bring this back a little. So I think that he was more there, which may not make much of a difference. And your question had some sort of contact or control of the lead hand with your rear hand. Oh no, sorry, with your lead hand. And in your video it kind of changed a little bit, but I think it's just basically simple self-defense, be aware of where this is and deal with it. And then here, and then kind of the three questions we got out of it are, can you lift it, can you pull it, and should you? And then followed with, if there are pitfalls, what are those pitfalls? So just to sort of restate the question so we're all on the same page. So let's kind of look at that. I'll just kind of wait because in case our heads are cut off on that. Can you check, Jim, just see? I don't think we're cut off if we're here before we spend a lot of time on it.
Oh, you're towards the top, but you still got your head in there.
Yeah, but okay, yeah, you can go back another step. But all right. So the size of the room is that function. So in a normal push hand situation, which we're essentially thinking that's what you guys are doing, where the goal is to create a step and to solve somebody trying to step, and then of course get them to step as well. So it looks like you guys are doing fixed step, and that's the basic goal, as opposed to get a kill shot or find a lock of some kind. I think it was essentially the off balancing, made obvious or plain by the step. So if we're in this situation, I would only call brush knee if I had my lead hand, lead leg, lead hand sweeping laterally. That's brush knee, which can look a zillion different ways, a zillion different ranges. It can have a zillion different uses, and in terms of throws and blocks and all the rest. But the setup that you had looked a little bit more like here. So the first thing to kind of note on all of this is that if I'm flat-footed and not kneeling or something like that, coming down here presents a lot of problems. The first problem is not his left hand coming down over the top of me. So you could demo a couple ideas from that, whatever that might look like. Yeah, right. The first problem really is that if I'm controlling his lead hand with the wrist, hand, forearm area, he can simply fold it and deliver his right elbow to me, which is a whole lot meatier and closer, harder for me to defend. Partly it's harder for me to defend because I feel like I'm defending. I have that arm, I'm worried about that. If he reaches his left hand high, I might even be ducking, and that's why I find myself here. But if you're wise, you won't belie this right away, as that maybe reaches or punches. Wait for me to believe I have you, and then fold and express. So that's a big issue. So if I was there in this position, what I prefer to do is hook my fingers and seek to control him this way. So this is basically needle at C-bottom, right? So if it wasn't this as the setup, I could have made this a lock and all the rest. But this energy of sort of control into needle at C-bottom and then into fan through back. So I have that kind of an energy from fan through back, but in this case, the whole point of this exercise is what about here? So this is also the same kind of setup as sort of the start of needle at C-bottom energy, which of course would normally draw you forward. Needle at C-bottom isn't this, but it's this. It has that retreat, sink, or pierce the earth energy. So that's going to help me keep him forward. So this followed by control of the tricep. I'm going to pass my thumb so I don't catch it. I'm not looking for a grab here, but of course I could have thrown him or something just with this grab. I could even find a nice lock in this position. So back to this here, whether I'm already on his knee or headed towards it or about to discover I want to try it. This followed by this. Now this motion here just becomes Fair Lady Works the Shuttles or Wave Hands Like Clouds. Right? Wave Hands Like Clouds would allow this as a lift. When we have that kind of motion. So let's just explore that and then I'll let everybody try it so we're kind of all feeling this. So here I don't want to get bound up. I want to give myself some space, probably by retreating. That helps encourage him forward. And then I want to pass this, maintaining contact through my elbow with his left hand. Once I pass his center, his left hand isn't much of a threat to me in fixed step push hands, right? If it's fighting, you might spin Bagua-like and hit me. So I'm allowing this, I'm not challenging this because I want to know where that is. And this might be, you can see how this can articulate, this might be why I'm getting low to let that pass. And I'm maintaining this contact, I'm aware of it. Once I pass his center or turn his center past my side, like his center is 45 to me now, I haven't passed his center with his right arm's on his right side, but I'm comfortable that I don't have to really particularly concern myself with that. So again, one here. Now, if I'm in this position and I start to clear his arm, that may very well shift his weight, which is pretty much what I want to do if we're thinking about possibly lifting this. If I'm lifting it, again, in a push hand situation, which will be a little slower than, real combat, I'm not going to reach this with my thumb. I'll do this so you can see it, on the same side as my fingers. Because as I shift his weight, he can actually kick me, right? So that's just separate right foot, where your arm is swung, and you have that, right? I'm going to instead, here, keep my thumb on the front of his leg. For me, I like just the top of the patella, so that as I extend here, with this energy, that pong, that high pong, or raise hands energy, or Fair Lady Works the Shuttles energy, or Wave Hands Like Clouds energy, whatever we want to call that high guard, I have my thumb, let's just point this foot to the camera, I have my thumb on the top of the patella, the lower portion of the thigh, come back, so that if he did shift forward, shift back, but shift the forward edge of the foot. I didn't finish the sentence. As you shift back and kick, I can challenge the kick with that tiger's mouth. And the challenge of the kick might be my revectoring it, sort of stiff arming it if we wished, or leading it somewhere. I could even strike it, with the palm. So here we go. We're doing whatever, we're pushing, and I get into this position. Here I've managed to trap him, which is kind of a nice bonus. He lost his space here, and I'll take it, but here, thumb on the front. And now as I'm on my front leg, he goes to his rear leg, and I'm turning. Now, if I can have a lift, I have a shot at a lift or a pull. You feel like falling?
Sure.
Good. So I can pull him to the outside of my lead knee and then turn this energy into a drive here. But I think what we'll do is we'll just practice kind of getting to this. So we see my weight shift, back to draw you forward, forward as I begin to clear this, and now that threat is essentially, I'm aware of it if it becomes an active threat. We could say it's sort of smothered. And then I'm beginning to open him to the outside, probably getting him to lean. So his left shoulders are falling outside of his left hip, and his right shoulder and right knee are rising outside of his left hip. So I'll let you two guys try that from both sides. And if I have commentary, I'll interrupt. But I think I've said enough, you guys can do it.
Good shot.
I would say let Jim do it to Jeff, because Jeff just practiced his side a few times. And
So I can give you feedback on
yeah,
it.
just
Okay. I'm trying to figure out. It's going to be raising hands.
Needles to
first-
see bottom,
Yeah.
it's first
which
here,
includes that bit of a
that little retreat and sink. And this
And then
is coming
fingers.
up,
Yep.
and then find, and find. Yep. Now, this should just be sinking, elbow, rising, hand, and opening. Feel the open has a nice effect.
Yeah.
You can feel you're in that wave hands like
Yeah.
clouds
Yeah.
sort of position. Right. Yeah, just get the little off balance so he feels like you can do it 20 times. I don't want you to like strain your back, because yeah, just kind of get him to where, okay. And then maybe a few times we'll do it as a throw or something.
Don't forget that little retreat's really important there.
Yeah. I did that a little retreat.
Mm.
One thing that I might do, by the way, if you guys were starting here, for you, I would push a little so he pungs. So now this is you, and now take his pung into, right?
Mm-hmm.
Does that kind of make sense, Jim? This doesn't have to be there. And then stay connected to him, stay sinking, expand, don't lean, find his knee as soon as you can. Right, so this hand could have been you going for his gun or his knife as well. You know, sneak to the outside and then check that gun. Or whatever.
Now you say fair. How about his posture at the fan through back part? What I'm getting is that, you know, the tailbone's just.
Yeah, he's overreaching on the end, so I want to get the beginning and then I'll fix the end.
Okay.
But I'm hoping he'll fix it as he does it a few times too. So you can elicit his palm a little bit, and then you have something to bite when you lead down. Right, now you're chasing him too long here, so this should have found his knee. So start again.
Okay.
Watch my position, man. So we're just maybe a little bit loosey, and I give you a little reason to sort of pung, and then here. So I'm just coming, I'm not going all the way here. I could, it's not a bad move. So we're here, give him a little bit, and here. I'm just doing this to get my thumb here. And then here. He can't do a lot of articulation here. I mean, I'm not going to put my face, you know, right by his hand, right? I'm relaxed. I'm leading him this way. Notice my position. I've just come from here, and now I have a little advance, and I'm coming down to this position. And then I have, you know, a whole bunch of fun throws.
Sure.
For example. Keep this settle, and express and expand out and upward. Yeah, that's fine. The trick with this is to feel the whole arm, the whole back, the whole chest, the whole breath. Don't get into wrestle. I'm sinking and expanding, not how do I...
We're looking at our two-person form. You had a great fan through back in that.
Yep.
Yeah.
So pause. This is where you're hooking, and so you're going to be fighting. I want you to find the place where you can be leading him by sinking and expanding. See? Now it's kind of easy there, right?
Yeah.
Once it hooks, then you're in muscle territory, and you have a leverage advantage, so you'll move them. You'll just throw Tai Chi out before you do it. Yep. Sink,
Yeah,
sink, expand, open.
Remember, Steve was showing expansion through here.
Of course, what we have in the form is this kind of motion, right? Where we have this expansion after that motion, and most forms have fan through back following their needle at C-bottom. And so it may feel a little natural to Tai Chi people to do this. Come a few steps this way, kiss your ain't cut off.
Oh no, your head's been cut off.
Yeah, you're in it.
That's more like it.
Nope.
Sink your body, expand, rotate. Yeah. Once you get into his armpit, it's a little harder to move his body because you lose the arm, lever arm.
Up here.
Yeah. Let me do it to you so you can feel. Is this okay? Just, I'm going to be moving my arm around there, so I don't want to break it.
My arm or the band?
Well, I was worried with the band.
Yeah.
So we're pushing, and then maybe just to sort of find a reliable setup, I might create that sort of pong in you, right? Or elicit it, maybe I should say. And I have a little retreat to draw you forward, or emphasize you forward, or keep you forward. Now I'm not chasing this a long way, right? Watch this hand. I'm just finding this. So feel where I am? I'm not chasing here, hooking.
Nope.
I'm just leading
The bicep.
the end of the tricep out and up here. You know, and if this was a fixed step, it would really feel nice to advance into that and take a step, you know, but we're trying to keep it to the setup I think David had.
That's good.
All right, so one more. Right. Right. One. So this is what I want to have. Feel this sort of friction, rotation. So my rotation through friction is creating a bigger motion in you. Watch this. Feel I hooked and tightened? I want to settle, rise, relax, rotate. All right? And then of course, that's the setup is down there. All right.
You guys write it out with the big boy?
I think you need to try it again.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, you want that expansion out.
Try it one more time.
Yeah. Yeah, you're on the way. Expand, rotate, come in here. Yeah. What?
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, that's right.
Yeah.
I was trying to go up that way.
Try it again. Sink your right elbow. Rise, relax, rotate. Find the knee. Yeah.
That was me
We're
cracking.
doing it now, Dave.
The bones all cracked. All right. You try it. Got it?
So trying to get that palm listed. There we go. So now I can.
So I see that you're weaving instead of, right? It's a pierce for needle. You had a weave, so it brought your elbow and armpit open, as opposed to, you just want to lead the structure, right? But keep the structure just for the sake of it, because this would happen a bit faster. Since we're sort of learning and teaching speed, keep the structure a little, Jim. So that helps them stay, and then that just helps you find your way here, and don't lose sight of this, right? As soon as you feel clear, you can sink if you want. Find the knee, pause, drop the elbow. This is the contact I want here. And now,
Yeah. I
Feel?
smell it's up there, just.
Yeah, I just don't want to slide to the armpit.
Understood, I got
Yeah.
that before, but it happened anyway.
Yeah, if it does, it's
Like
fine.
watched it
Yeah.
happen. Okay, so you gotta find his contacts here and keep it.
Yeah. But you're right, even if it did slide up, you can make it work. We're just trying to teach, you know, like usual, some ideal. Right? And you wouldn't even have to chase him that far. If you're on the armpit, you're more likely to chase him to get the imbalance.
Yeah.
If you're near the elbow, when I do it here, I want to lead him by the elbow. So again, we're doing one elbow, and see my posture? See his?
Yeah.
If we had been here, in order to get on that, I'm pretty leaning.
Yeah.
I'd rather have this. That's a whole lot of control over him.
Yeah.
Yeah. But this answer is not so much about how we clear that arm, it's about the knee, but this puts it into what I feel is a better context than just reaching for it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Put the conditions together for it to
Right,
happen
yeah.
more effectively. So, yeah, this maintaining contact and being able to expand and rotate without slipping up to the armpit is where I'm having a lot of trouble.
Yeah. Coming off my arm and going to my.
Yeah, because I can't find a way to keep that contact there. I mean, if I were controlling this wrist, maybe I could do a little more, but I'm going to let him go with that so I can get to the knee. And then that's when it starts slipping.
Express.
Well, I know, I wasn't quite working on that. I was trying to discuss the problem contact. Okay. The push on. Well, yeah, I gotta get the retreat in there. Sorry. Let's try again. Push on. Yeah. Okay. I already feel the shoulder. Yeah, a lot of shoulder happening in there for me. Now again, please. Pong, 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 pong. Let me push it. Shoot. Thank you. And I'm back in the pit again and overextended, overleaning. What do you think? On the path?
Getting there. We're getting there. Let me see if I can think these things through while you're doing it.
Yeah, that actually getting that when we're here, getting over to be able to do that has been a bit of a problem for me. Okay, so there. Right.
Okay. Good? Ready to move on?
Sure.
You want
Okay.
to
No,
spend another minute?
it'll be some time before I get it, so we can move on.
Okay. So I'll do it again with you since we set up here. So, just stands there, puts a sombrero on.
The gym photo bomb. Yeah.
So, whatever the setup was, he was controlling this, and you can relax that for a moment. When he went into the sort of teaching of the position, relax a bit. He had his relax a little bit. He had the guy a little bit less pong and a little bit more simple control. And I think the reason is he's a martial artist, so he just had a grip. This wasn't the point of what he was asking, and that guy's probably not super pong because he's busy having it taught. So I'm not saying they did something wrong. I think just as a martial artist, he just kind of grabbed this. That wasn't really his point. But nevertheless, we'll kind of start there because that is what we saw. I think he was you were a little bit softer, he was a little bit more simple control, and then here. So the question about the lift, I think the obvious thing is that I don't want to try lifting it with your weight on it. So then it becomes, how do we take your weight off it? And there's a couple different ways that we can do that. One way that'd be a little bit fun, if we have this grip, relax, you didn't have so much palm, is to rotate this.
Yeah, I'll do it.
And so what I'm doing is I'm taking his forearm, making it vertical. So if you guys have this kind of a lock, then you'll know what I'm doing. I just don't have the benefit of that extra nice grip and all the more leverage it provides. But I'm rotating his forearm while it's relatively vertical. I mean, I'm aiming for perfectly vertical, and that takes his weight off. And of course, I can actually shift his weight off it, but even here, he sort of rises in it. And that becomes a little easier for me to lift. Whether I want to or not is another case, but to answer the question, I think, was could you lift, not would you. Generally speaking, I wouldn't in push hands because I'm not trying to throw the guy, and in competition, I don't think ever allowed to grab and throw by the leg. You know, you can contact the leg in some cases, but you know, so that's the answer in me. So if I think you're sort of here, and he's coming down, of course that elbow is a concern, but if I guide that elbow vertical, you know, Dave, I think, was still bent in this way, so in Taijiquan, so I wouldn't really, I'd work at fixing my posture. We explored it in the other video with changing the stance so I can have a posture in sync, right? If it was just sort of a martial artsy answer, I could certainly kneel, or I could really throw you higher so that I can stand up straighter. But this motion here allows me to lift this. So there's a couple of things that I could do with this. One, which is kind of unusual, is to keep my weight forward and lift his instep into my patella so that I'm striking what my teacher referred to as the bag of bones. So don't go anywhere. It's the same effect as this,
Yeah.
which is me striking him. But since I'm controlling this, he's probably concerned with his leg and his balance, not his foot so much. So I might be able to get away with that strike as I pass him clear, where he's less likely to, you know, kick me in the groin. Another thing to do would be to bring him up so that I could shift my weight and get control of his foot with my popliteal fossa. And of course, you know, I could continue doing fun stuff here, or work on breaking his balance and posture and so forth in this position. We should recognize this from Tai Chi, right? Just hammer over elbow. How we usually do it.
Get a chance at this?
No, he's fine.
You're really doing well.
Let's do one step this way in case we're sneaking. So he started here and kind of here. So let's say, for example, you do offer the elbow because that's sort of his starting position. And it might have just been because he's got his partner just waiting for him to get in a position, and Dave actually, you know, was somewhere else. But just for fun, let's say I am here and the elbow starts. I could guide that elbow up with that lock. I can fine tune where his weight is.